All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the January 2021 Vernon Salon. I'm very pleased tonight to present again my dear friend Jude Traxler, who's in New York. If you missed him back last month, he played the first set of, I believe, 6 or 7 songs from his opera that he wrote, and he'll be playing 6 songs tonight from the second set. So Jude is a performer, a composer, and a conceptual artist who lives in New York. We went to graduate school together many years ago, and that's how we know each other. And we have collaborated on many projects together, albums, different concerts, and other things over the years. So I'm very happy he's playing tonight. I wanted to say a quick word about the Salon series itself, and that is that it started 5 years ago. So January 2016 was when this started last, or when the series began, and so tonight marks the 5-year anniversary of the whole series. You can support Jude this evening through either PayPal or Venmo, and you should see, excuse me, you should see a link on your video there on the bottom. So I will be in the chat as Jude is playing tonight, and stick around if you'd like for a little Q&A with us afterwards, where you can type some questions in the YouTube chat, and we can get that going as well. So I am going to, without further ado, if you are ready, Jude Traxler.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I'm gonna mute myself. Have fun.
All right. Hello, humans. If you did not tune in last time, I'll give the basics. This opera is an original story with 2 characters, one of which is very much in a coma because of a virus of her own design, and Guy is trying to keep her like brain function going. He has to manually fire these sort of apps called snooze. It's basically like dismissing a bunch of independently timed snooze alarms. Anyway, if you want to go to judetraxler.com/CPU_opera, all of these tunes have lyrics and might be easy to follow. Otherwise, who cares? Welcome to the show. It is an opera in 1 act, but the story is well broken after like the first 6 or so songs. So I'm starting now on song 8. I'll play a handful of songs, and yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for making the long commute to this show. Severed limbs and bobby pins won't bring me back this far. Never again will I begin. I've missed my final start. Chemicals in dirty needles fake this feeling I belong. Biting tongues collapse my lungs as we realize this life is wrong. Are you happy where you landed? Are you pleased with the fall? Are you happy where you landed? Won't you know? defend as gods pretend that they had never left us here. Pinch my skin as I extend my love, my dear. Are you happy where you landed? Are you pleased with the fall? Count regrets with both hands. You can have it all. Are you happy where you landed? Are you pleased with the fall? Are you happy where you landed? Won't you know? No matter what this life will bring, looking underneath myself, I wouldn't change a thing. Siren always goes away at the very end of a tune. Cool. That is a song about complacency. So this next tune, called Caution, is one where our character is a little bit over the hump in terms of he knows what he needs to do. And this is a bit of him very calmly saying, I am tired and worn out. And I know it has been a ridiculous year already. I'm sure many of us are feeling tired and worn out. This tune is called Caution. The only truth in life is sin. I don't know just where I've been. And as we bleed, so shall we die. Take with me both you and I believe a wealth of men haven't seen what they've seen nor been where they've been. And as we seek, so shall we find that this world is not yours and mine. Cautioning my wearied mind. You know what this might mean, waiting for my heart to sing. Some will sink while some will rise, fashioning my great demise, cautioning my wearied mind. As we seek, so shall we find. This world is not yours and mine. Those without have much within, waterlogged and sinking in, singing by my only friend. Cool. How are you guys doing? I cannot see any of you, but I sense you. No, that's not true. That's gibberish. Anyway, so this next tune is, an opera wouldn't be anything without some flip-flopping. So this is a tune about maybe I have done the wrong thing. My parents call this buyer's remorse. So after our character has kind of made his decision, this is a little bit of that seed of doubt of maybe I've made the wrong decision. How are you guys? I'm gonna drink this coffee liquid. And Rainwater, how's your day?
Uneventful.
Ooh,
Good.
I think that's a great thing right now in history. It's like a flight. You want an uneventful flight. All right. I don't miss you like I used to. 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 Why are we holding on if? Why are we holding on if? And I wanna hold you while this world decays. And I wanna be there as our mind betrays. And all our instincts now, and all our weapons down. I don't miss you like I used to. 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 Why are we holding on if? Why are we holding on if? Why are we holding on? I have no memories of this place. I never made these mistakes. Before our welcome expires, making exits in fire. And all our instincts bound, and all our demons found. I don't miss you like I used to. 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 So why are we holding? Why are we holding? What are we holding on to? If I don't miss you, and I don't miss you like I used to, and I don't miss you like I used to, like I used to. I don't miss you. Cool. It's wet and it's rainy outside. Oh, thanks. Evan's giving me a little clap, little Korean love. Let me tune this guitar real quick. Ann, do you want to tell a story?
What about?
Whatever you want. You vamp for a second, and then I'll tell a story about a kid on a Zoom class today that was the funniest thing ever. Of course I'm going to tell that story. I mean, he's not logging on. I won't use any names. Anyway, give me a second.
Sure. I guess if you are just tuning in, this is the Vernon Salon series with Jude Traxler this evening. This is part 2 of his opera set, and he also performed last month on the series here. We are, what is this month? January? So this is the...
Whatever month you believe. Believe in yourself.
It's hard to believe. This is the 5-year anniversary this month of when I started this series. So,
huzzah!
Anniversary.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Much of a story, but
no, it was a great story. It's the greatest story ever told. So I'm gonna play this tune, and then I'll tell a story about something hilarious. This tune is called "I Don't Know." And I always found it to be like a great running gag when Ann would say, "What tune are we playing next?" And I'd say, "I don't know." And I know it's stupid, but I am a dad of a 4.5-year-old, so I feel like I am licensed to do dad jokes. That's it. I got a license and everything. Here we go. This tune is a little bit about I miss you and I'm sad about it, and I want you to know, but also I don't ever want you to know that you're the cause of this pain. I think it's catchy. It's in E major. It's a good thing, right? It's a thing. Ann's just making faces at me. It's great. Here we go. That's it. It's very short. I don't know if you're watching, but I'm crying. I don't know if you miss me while you're gone. I don't know if you're listening, but we're dying. I don't miss you anymore, and I'm lying. I don't know if you feel it, but we're rising out of the ashes of this thing I know we think we control. I don't know if we're here now. If we're trying, I'll be damned to let you go. Miss my final score. When you find me, I'll be alone. Where our crimes lead, I'll never ever let her know. Watch us return. Watch me collapse and burn. I don't know. Details, but I'm trying. Somewhere behind us, a back door. I don't know if you're watching. We're here dying, and I swear I'm never listening to a goddamn thing you tell me anymore. When you find me, I'll be alone. Where our crimes lead, I swear I'll never let her know. Watch us return in time. Watch us return to find. Watch us return as two minds. Watch us return as we try. I don't know. doesn't suit me anymore than who I ought to be. And if where we land doesn't bruise me to the bone, then happily we'll flee. When you find me, I'll be alone. Where our crimes lead, I swear I'll never let her know. Watch us return in time. Watch us return to find. Watch us return as two minds. Watch us return as we die. I don't know. So this kid today, I've been waiting to tell the story the whole time. So I'm teaching a class today. I won't give you any details, but I will just say that a kid logged on and I said something like, "Happy Friday, sixth graders." And a kid goes, "Happy Friday, you son of a bitch." And he didn't know it was unmuted. I thought it was hilarious. The funniest thing that has ever happened to me on Zoom. I mean, there's a close second, but this is by far, he was mortified. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was talking to my brother. My brother asked me a question." Because that's the answer. That's the answer to a question. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I've been waiting the whole time to share that. This is stand-up comedy, right? That's what this is?
This YouTube video is not made for kids.
No. I mean, it could be, but no. Please no. All right. This next tune I don't think has ever been done live. And I think it's the last tune I wrote for the opera. It is the penultimate song in the set list. It's called Home. And it's a little bit of, the last song is actually called Last Song. And it kind of gives away a twist that makes much of the opera very different in its perception of the lyrics when you hear the final song. But this song before that kind of does a much kinder recap of everything that's happened. It's a nice pairing, I think, to the opening overture, also titled CPU. Anyway, this is a tune called Home. For the not quite music nerds at home, this is a tune in 9. There are 9 beats in each measure, in each repetition of the meter. It's not that interesting, but it's more interesting than 8. And that's a true statement, as weird as that sounds. My mom is at home I don't know what that means. And Ann is at home he's such an idiot. Anyway, life is good. Check this out. F major. She will not be seen, I will not believe. We will always fall apart at the seams. We cannot move on until this feeling's gone. Everything is flawed, I do not belong. Nothing can take us down here, this is a place we know well. She believed that he, with heart upon his sleeve, could recreate a time when he and she could be. They could not move on until the blood was drawn, knowing all along they did not belong. Nothing can take us down here, this is a place we know well. Breaking protocol, and I'll see you soon. Breaking protocol, I'll see you Happy Friday, you sons of bitches. It was delivered in such a way that it reminded me so much of like that bit from Home Alone, keep the change, you filthy animal. It had that like John Wayne kind of like grit to it. I'm not gonna lie, I was really impressed by it, which is what took me back the most. So this is the last song, also called Last Song, not an original title. But it does describe this notion of kind of giving in to the inevitable, not as a decision he has made, but as something he's fully committed to. And this is sort of the very end of like them potentially leaving the world together, when in fact there's a little bit of a twist in the verses of this that, I mean, again, I don't want to give away all the ending. Like, I think no one's ever going to listen to this opera, but I don't know. People who are logging on right now, I appreciate you. You are a limited number of folks, and I think you're great. I don't know, Anne, should I say something like thanks to all the ladies out there? Is that, I don't want to say that anymore.
All the single ladies?
All the single ladies. All the single ladies. I don't know. I'm just riffing. I got one more tune to do.
Yeah, but then we're gonna chat for a bit, right?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I've got a beer that's just eyeing me.
I thought
But
it was.
I don't want to be gaseous in the microphone. So it's looking at me. All right, people. Thank you for tuning in. I posted this on Facebook the other day, but like I have a really bad habit of making art, especially with Anne, and then like not telling anyone it ever exists. It's a terrible habit. It's a terrible habit. Tell people that you're doing things. Sometimes they show up. Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming. Let's chat after. Moments remaining, wouldn't you try to tell her everything on your mind before the final blink of your eyes? Mad rush of DMT and consciousness, clarity of light and life as time permits. Tell her everything you wish this future should bring. Tell her everything you wish this future should bring. Don't miss a thing. Imagine the prison of repetition, a pitch perfect perpetual misery, awaiting each player ignition is a blanket of unusable memory. Last bump of soma for the pain, can you hear the digital echo? Just as it starts to rain, the sound whispers, let go. Tell her everything you wish this future should bring. Tell her everything you wish this future don't miss a thing. We are not long for this world. You'll always be my favorite girl. I won't ask you to stay. Watch us slowly, slowly, slowly slip away. I won't ask you to stay. Watch us slowly, slowly slip away. Happy Friday, you son of a bitch. I mean, I got to end with that. That's my tagline. If this were good stand-up, you pinch the line a few places. You drop it at the end. You say, "That's been my time, guys and gals. Thank you so much. Good night. You've been a great crowd." And then loud music plays. That's about it. That's all I got. I mean, I have more, but nobody wants to hear it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. I am genuinely honored to be celebrating Anne's Salon's 5th year. I think that's awesome. Anne and I have known each other since 2008. And I don't know. It's weird to make art right now, and I won't go into that now because I'm sure we'll talk about stuff. But I like that Anne has helped prod me a little bit into doing stuff. I think that's something that is happening a lot more often than I remember. In a time of COVID, people are prodding, "Hey, I'm bored. Let's do a project. Let's do a project." And that happens, but I feel like that happens every 6 or so months. Whereas now it's once a week. People are "Hey, I got a thing, man. You want to play some stuff? You want to?" Anyway, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys and gals.
I think maybe on a related note, I have Jude and I both make our livings as performers and educators and all sorts of other pre-COVID gigging and anything else that would come our way, right?
Not me. I married rich. I married a public school teacher.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. We can't all marry rich. But I have seen also during this time an uptick of adults interested in taking piano lessons. Some from me, some much more experienced, some beginners. But I think people are during this time looking for things to do that are creative, that are an outlet, that are not just work. Something at the end of the day to feel good about and feel creative about. And it is a different time for all that. So. Yeah,
and I've seen a huge uptick, I think, in mental health awareness. I mean, I think we're all just cooped up inside, and it's kind of bubbling to a front. But I myself, as well as many of my friends, I have found that this has been a time of first of all, career reflection and self-reflection. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we're going to start over, the whole world is going to start over at the same time. What a convenient way to not give any of us an advantage. I think it's amazing, but I don't know.
Well, maybe while we're waiting for questions to come in, maybe you can talk about some of the projects you have been doing recently, or projects even in the past you wanted to highlight, or projects with me you wanted to talk about, or anything.
Anne Rainwater and I made a record of my piano music that she plays blissfully well. On this piano right here, this pretend piano.
We recorded it right there.
Right here, Anne sat right here. There's a great vocal track on that record called "Sun Out" by one of my very favorite composers. By me. I'm my favorite composer, and I wrote it. No, it's a Kenneth Koch piece called "Sun Out." It's super early, and to get the rights to publish it, obviously we had to reach out to his estate. and his
That
wife.
was
And
that was great. I mean,
it
it was a
was really cool
process,
because she's a
but it was
pianist. I
great.
didn't know that. She was like a pianist when they met in like, I don't know, the 70s,
60s or
60s.
70s.
So she's a pianist. I mean, stuff I write is strange, and Anne and I have kind of perfected weirdo music at a high level. All of that's an oxymoron, but whatever. But no, it was really cool to like connect those dots, and long-winded. My point to this is Anne sat right here at the piano with a microphone, and I yelled at her. We yelled at each other, but I mostly yelled at Anne
You
until we
know,
got some good vocal takes, and we did. I think we really did.
you made a good point, and maybe some of the folks listening can attest to this, because I know some people in the chat are other musicians. That last month when you played and we had our chat afterwards, you made some comment about how some of us need to be pushed
Yeah.
to have an output, like to really just go for it. And I know for me, it's easier to kind of sit at home and practice and go, well, I could perfect this for another 3 years or so, right? And just
Yeah.
hang out with it by myself. But to put stuff out there is really, really important. But it takes sometimes your friend or your collaborator to really get that out of you.
Well,
So
and a lot of that I think is comes with agents and managers, and I in the last maybe 10 years, I've respected those positions more than anything, because like I'm admittedly so bad at it, but I don't care. I mean, that's the difference. I'm only doing this now because you asked me to, and I'm thrilled to, and I need to do this. I need to do this, but like I would never do this by myself on my own accord. And I feel like having a manager or an agent, it takes a lot to just push your art, because the internet is full of garbage. It is a sea and a soup of just mediocre garbage, and sometimes stuff is really good, but how would you even know?
yeah.
And so, and it's not anyone's fault, it's the algorithms, but like, I mean, it is what it is. Things are entertaining, take less mental energy. Excuse me, I mean, honestly, I would rather have a Snickers bar than eat a healthy meal every time. But like, you got to make that smart decision to like pick the projects and push yourself. I find it's been a colleague for me, but like, excuse me, but like, I need someone else in my life, like collecting my stuff and presenting it in a way. I mean, it's still weird for me. I've had a website for
Long time.
God, I don't know. Yeah. Like almost 20 years I've had a website up, and it's obviously changed and grown over time, but I still don't think anybody's going to ever look at it. I'm sure that's not true, but also it's weird for me to post my own stuff. It's weird for me to post on Facebook because it just feels weird to me. And I know this is not a popular opinion, but like, I don't like seeing pictures of other people's kids. So I don't offer pictures of my kid. And I think she's super cute and she's really funny. But again, like I don't know. It's so cynical, and I'm in New York. And so maybe that's the blood I'm pumping. But like, I don't want to see other people's stuff per se, which is not true. I've got a lot of really talented, incredible friends. But I just feel like people don't want to see my stuff. I think it's more that than anything. I'm just unsure that people would care about my stuff, because I know no one's going to care about it like I do. Duh. It's like
Yes.
it's like wanting someone else to love your kid as much as you love your kid, or your cat as much as you love your cat. Like, that's not a thing. There's no reason to push that. But also, like, you got a great cat. Let's show off. This is getting weird the way I'm phrasing all this, but what I'm getting at is share your work, share your art. I'm always just so self-conscious. Not that I don't think it'll be good. I just don't think that people will be as interested in it. And again, I know that's not true. But it's hard for me to do stuff like this without like a manager or an agent saying, you play here now,
Okay. Well, we do have people on the chat saying, we care about your art.
Oh, y'all are so sweet. Y'all are so sweet.
And then we have a non-sequitur.
Happy Friday, you sons of bitches.
Somebody about more tree pictures. I think that's my sister. No, but I just lost my train of thought.
It's a crazy time. I think we need to be doing stuff. I think if you want to write a novel, now's the time to write your novel. If you want to, my buddy Greg Chudzik learning how to code. I think a lot of people are learning how to code right now. I think a lot of people are picking up hobbies and habits, and a lot of people I know are getting healthy. A lot of people I know are like learning new computer programs, new texts, new skills and hobbies. A lot of people are cooking. My buddy Al is like cooking naan. or like deep dish ass pizza in a cast iron skillet. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a time for that. I think it's a time for art, and I hope that it is taken up by enough people to give it some validity. I mean, I love what we do, but like we do it. We do what we do at such a, not even a high level, but like at such a specific level of detail and fine tuning a product that like it's hard to know that other people can appreciate it.
I remembered what I was going to say is that a very good friend of mine, a writer, always says that, the difference between art and entertainment is that art is not palliative. It's not meant to just sit there and soothe you.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking about when you're talking about posting your stuff online. In a way, it's like, well, does it really matter to you whether you reach 10 or 100 or 10,000 people? Or does it matter to you that you just share that with some people who might get it? Really
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's happened too is like, again, I'm not great in the social cyberspace, but like, it's not that I'm bad. I just don't. I just spectate. I just totally spectate. I don't know. It's not that I'm concerned with critics, but like the internet's just such a nasty place.
It is. It is.
But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, like there are some bands that I will devote myself to like forever. And it's not even their discography. It's like that tune literally changed my life about music.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a short anecdote I'll tell. I was, Harry Connick Jr. is from New Orleans. I'm from Baton Rouge. I fly out of New Orleans. Harry Connick Jr. lives in New York. He has maybe he's in LA. It doesn't matter. He got his degree from Manhattan School of Music and piano. He is a legitimate jazz pianist.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Oh my God. So I'm trying to make this story short. So I'm on an airplane coming back with my kid. Lucy is probably like a year and a half at the time, hella young. She's like strapped on me, and I've got like 10 million. I look like a dad from some like terrible 80s movie. Like everything is a mess. I'm barely alive. We've gotten back. It's just me and Lucy. My wife stayed back with her fam for an extra week. I get here. It's freezing. I'm like in the corner waiting for luggage and just let my kid like run in circles. And I know it's Harry Connick Jr. Like I see him on the plane, and I think that's him. He's got like the hood way up, and he's real like, you can tell you don't want to look at anybody in the eyes. Like it's awkward how much this dude is like just hiding. So I think that's him. We're both waiting for luggage. He's like pretending to be on the phone so nobody will speak to him. And long story short is, I'm one dude that heard this record. He's got a record called like Songs I Love or Songs I Heard, or I forget what it's an incredible record. And there's a tune in there called Oompa Loompa. And of course we know Oompa Loompa,
right,
Doompa Dee Doo. Oh my God. There's this dotted eighth beat displacement thing he does. It is absolutely phenomenal. And the piano solo is not only so good, but there's like these little counterpoint moments. You can tell he's an educated pianist. And he's singing at the same time. It's unbelievably good on every level. So fast forward to the end of the story, desperately. So we're done. I've got my stuff. I'm going to leave. Ann and I saw James Gandolfini one time in my elevator when they were shooting a movie, and I kind of made an idiot of myself. And so from that moment, I was like, I can't let this guy go without saying, I think you're amazing. And so he's pretending to be on the phone, and I just real quiet. I've got my kids strapped on. I'm obviously like I've got 10 bags and whatever in the stroller, and who knows. And I put my hand on his shoulder, and you can tell like he's slow. Like what? Like you can tell he's just a slow turn around. And I go, "Hey man, I don't want to bother you, but I just have to tell you, your recording of Oompa Loompa absolutely changed my life." And the smile on his face was just like, oh shit. Like it was just this look of like, oh, you're not like some fanboy about my talk show or some movie I made.
You get it.
It was just straight up like, I wasn't like, hey man, I loved you with Will Smith in Independence Day, which I did, by the way. Can we just talk about that a second?
That is like that scene at the end. If you all listening have not seen the movie Untitled, Jude and I have
what a film,
affection for that film. But there's a moment at the end of the film which will not ruin the film for you. But a waiter at this event comes up to the guy who's the main character, the composer, and he goes, "Oh, you're that composer of that piece. I heard it, last year in New York at whatever so and so hall." And he goes, "Your piece changed my life." I mean, just like that. And you said the first time you saw it, you sobbed at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
I think I watched it by myself, and same thing. I just like.
Yeah, I think I might have said this last time, but there's a, especially as a composer, when you're in music school, especially when you first start, the question floats around like, would you rather be famous now?
That's
Or
exactly
after
what
you're
I was
dead?
going to mention. Sorry,
And
say it again.
if you're, would you rather be famous now or after you're dead? And mostly it's a composer question. With performance, it's about your output and whatever. But as composers, those are the kind of the names that live on through our textbooks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And excuse me. I'm so sorry. It's Friday.
You are in the you would rather be famous after you're dead camp.
Oh, of course.
Which I used to find very morbid and weird, and now I agree with you. But I do want to say, Jude, there's some questions. I'm looking at the side of my screen here. Quite a lot of questions. So,
oh my goodness.
It's such a weird time to make art. Can you talk about that? I think you talked about that a little, but if you want to talk about that more.
I think it's the best time to make art.
You think
Can I tell you something? Can I just jump on that one?
Yeah, go ahead. And then there's a few more here. I want to
look at y'all. Look at y'all. It's weird I can't see anybody, but I love that you tuned in.
They see you, and they're very happy to see you.
Y'all are sweet. Nobody's happy to see me, but it's great. So, no, it's funny. Like, I think it's the best time to make art. I don't make art well on either end of the spectrum, right? If I'm really happy, it's hard for me to write. If I'm really sad, actually that's not true. I'm really sad. It's really easy to write. If I feel like, oppressed is the wrong word because it is the wrong word, but like when I feel overpowered with life, I find it most difficult to write because I just feel like there's things on me. But I don't know, like depression is a kind of a go-to mode for me, and so I find a good, like, this to me is a great time to write. Or it's at least a great time to like be distracted by something. I mean, I don't know. There's a difference between artists and artisans. You can't have good art without good craft. You know what I mean? You can't be a good artist. Like Jackson Pollock, people make fun of him all the time because like it's like stuff flung on paper. It is impeccably proportioned. Those colors and those ranges wherever you slice that grid. And so, I don't know, I think now's a great time to start something new. Now's a great time for art. Now's the time to be busy. Now's the time to open a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Like, if not now, when? Like, literally the earth is on standstill. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, introverts unite.
You can
do anything.
You can create your own future, whatever you choose every day.
I mean, I like to joke that in New York, you can have a baby delivered. Like, you can get anything you want at any time. And it's a double entendre, but like, like make art. I mean, now's the best time. Get a YouTube tutorial.
We have more photos. We have
more photos. Give me all the photos. Tell them to me.
So that question was from Sarah Ireland, and then another one from James Ireland. Have you written any other parts for any of the songs you played tonight? What instrument or instruments?
I know both those people. I think they're great people. So I wrote in 2014 to about 16. I wrote this opera CPU. It's 14 songs. The idea with this is that it was a few things. It was a 14-song rock record. You can pick one at a time. They don't mean it. They can work separately. Put together 1 through 14, they tell an original story from top to bottom. And then when you know the story of the opera itself, like a true staged opera, it changes. There's a twist on almost every tune. I mean, the second tune, let's say some tunes tonight, like, I Don't Miss You Like I Used To is a song about a breakup. The tune's called Turnover, but, it's also a song about, like, if you are laying dead in this coma and I'm just working to keep you alive for the sake of it's the right thing to do, still, is this worth it? Well, we say yes. Are you happy where you landed? Are you pleased with the way this turned out? But also, like, I don't miss you. This is work. Like, love is work and love is hard. And so I like this idea that every tune has multiple meanings and multiple layers. And to succinctly answer that question, yes, I wrote all the parts. most of it's fairly set, but again, I wrote it also as like a fake book where you could do these 14 tunes as a Dixieland, you know. So yes, I wrote all the parts. The first half of this opera, the first 6 tunes, are on an EP of mine called CPU EP, because it is the first half, and it's released under a band name I work with Al Cerullo and Greg Chudzik called Echo Artifact. And all this stuff is easy to find on the web. I pay money, so it's easy to find. If you type in Echo Artifact, if you type in Jude Traxler, if you type in CPU Opera, all this stuff shows up. But yeah, and I like thinking it's a little bit flexible and a little bit malleable, where it could be any musicians get together and kind of make this thing come alive. Yes, ma'am. And Rainwater, keep me on task.
Maybe you could talk about specifically, just because I remember singing this song with you, so I'm just trying to remember the instrumentation myself. I don't know, because I love.
Oh, that was a fun tune. That's probably one of our more fun tunes. So that's
maybe remind them, because the whole time you were playing, I was like, I remember harmonizing this part and singing.
Oh, it's funny. So Anne has been part of this since its inception. I mean, Anne, when did you leave New York? 2014, 2012? 2012. Get out of here, girl.
Yeah.
You thought the world was ending, and you're like, I'm out. So Anne is my first work wife. Anne is my first like pianist duo mate. And I remember Anne left town, but you were still flying back to do some CPU stuff. We did sort of a rough run over the summer.
2 to 4 times a year, probably, with you.
Anne Rainwater, Mike Perdue, my brother Luke Traxler. Mm-hmm. We had a buddy Phil Roberts on like camera work and stuff that summer. Anyway, I digress. So I don't know if you're watching, but I'm dying. I don't know if you're with me while you're gone. It's got that very typical like, when you find me, I'll be alone. Where our crimes lead.
Sorry.
Shenandoah River.
Yeah. We decided it was a country tune, and we would just harmonize in thirds.
It really was, yeah. We had kind of a twang to it, right? Like it was an acoustic guitar. I think either you had like it was either a whistle or it was a yeah, no, it was hit, or it was a melodica, I think, at one point. But I like that. I like thinking these tunes are really flexible. Like are the tunes that are recorded like a set instrumentation? Sure, they are for the recording. And on that EP, I didn't have a band yet. It was really just me. Anne was out of town, and I was kind of just shopping bandmates, to be honest with you. So on that CPU EP, I'm playing everything. I'm playing drums. We didn't have a bass or a bassist, and so all that stuff is programmed. And then just a bunch of stuff, bunch of noise machines.
But I feel like this is the kind of album or your writing that could be on like like an MTV Unplugged or like a Tiny Desk concert.
I think so.
It could be portable to different locations and instrumentation, depending on how many people are in the mix. And
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's a rock set. It's a rock set, and it's some songs, but also like it is a stage like designed opera where there is someone doing some actions and some staging, but it would be light. It would be simple. Yeah.
Your brother asks.
I don't have a brother.
Yes, you do.
I do.
Has the necessity for streaming affected your two's approach for composition, writing for a new medium, idea, etc.?
Not for me. No. I when this all started, I felt like it was a bit of a crutch. I don't think this is going to go away, but I think that this will get better. This will get different. There's a program called Jack Trip that's been pretty popular, connecting with very low latency, but like we're talking about like 100 milliseconds, which is a lot, but still pretty intense when you like. I think he did from New York to Hawaii and back, and it was like a total of like 400 milliseconds, which is a lot. That's like a taga. That's a pretty intense delay
for folks playing together.
But considering it's Hawaii, like that's pretty unbelievable. Otherwise, no, I don't know. Like whether we're talking about COVID, whether we're talking about the Trump administration or anything that is like overwhelming, no matter where you stand, like the whole thing is overwhelming. I have really not wanted to let that stamp my artistic output. And I know that's silly, but I don't want to look back and see these markers etched in the stone of my writing.
Yeah.
I would prefer like, oh, well, you know, when Brahms was writing this was happening in Spain, or this was happening in so-and-so, or this was happening in London. Like, it's true, but you don't see it, like it doesn't scar the artwork. And so no, ironically, a buddy of ours, Ann and I are close to a composer named Stuart Saunders Smith, and he wrote a piece for us recently that's for piano and vibraphone play the same music, and you're sort of you're playing the same music at the same time, but you're sort of together, like it's not supposed to be exactly lined up. I'm like, Stuart, and he's like 80. I mean,
No,
he ain't.
not.
He's a good 75. He's a real
All right.
75.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we could play
But
that
like,
together.
it's funny. Stuart he's an experimental composer, and he's got some wild stuff, but it's pretty conservative in the very left craze of you know, theatrical composition. It's pretty conservative. And so it's funny that Stuart, of all people, has written something that's so timely. Like, so Stuart, you mean you play the same thing and you're not you're supposed to be almost together? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you wrote a Zoom overture.
You
Like,
wrote a Zoom piece.
you wrote overture to zoom.com. So I don't know. Ask me another question.
I will say for myself, for streaming during this time, I mean, I've participated in other like live streams with some friends and with some different, you know, organizations. I will say for solo performing, you know, hanging out in your living room, playing to, you know, the camera or your cat, it's very hard to simulate the same kind of feeling from a performance. Yeah. And that's not to say that like when I'm by myself, I don't take my music as seriously, but there's something, you know, do or die about live performance, and that you cannot stop. You can't go, oh, hey guys, can I do a do-over? I mean, I guess you could, right? But there's something so wonderful about, this is what I've talked about with some adult students recently who have, you know, expressed similar feelings to me about, there's just something wonderful about that magic that's created between you and the audience, and you're both participating in it, and you're both kind of creating it, even though you're the performer. That's very hard, or that you can't do in your own living room.
It's different, and especially, and maybe part of it is like the way, like Zoom is either you're in a Zoom call or you're in like a webinar like this. Like I can't see anybody, you know, and I feel like it's one or the other. It's also a combination of, I think, there's a danger. Like that's not your piano on stage.
Right.
Is that note going to stick? Are the lights going to be in your eyes? That's a weird color.
Am I going to get like hot and sweaty halfway through my set and not be able to like?
Are you thinking about something else?
Yeah.
Is Jude drunk? Like, there's so many questions. No, but for real, Ann and I have played for a long time together. But no, really, like it's really different. I mean, it's a lot like, I know everybody won't get this per se, but like it's a lot like it's not just working at home, where work and home are the same station. It's almost like, imagine if you're giving a business presentation in your kitchen.
In your pajamas.
In your pajamas, but I mean, maybe even not in your pajamas, but you're definitely standing in your bedroom. You're in
like
your
maybe your kid is crying in the corner too, and the garbage truck is backing up on the street, and like, you know, it just
the postman is here and he's banging on the door, or there's a leak downstairs. I don't know. There's just so many things. Like it doesn't have the same like circumstance, the same like, you know, posture that I think it would when you walk on stage. At the same time, I love the commute. I mean, I was joking with Ann today. I was like, listen, I'm just going to walk around the venue and kind of see what's here. I texted my brother and said like, hey man, like come check the show out. He's like, great. Like, how's it going to be? Like, the venue sucks, man, but it's going to be a good show. You know? So it's a trip, but again, like, what are you going to do? I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
I that's always been my mentality. Like, I don't complain a lot, because again, like, what are you going to do? Like, I'm not someone who gets overly angry easily. I do like to yell. That's just a general thing. I like yelling. But like, again, like what's it going to fix? You know, like art is one of those things that replicates life, but also art imitates things. I mean, I write music for one of three reasons. One, I hear a tune that I'm obsessed with, and I steal it and write it. To deal with the fact that I didn't write it. It's this weird like narcissism. Like, I want to have written that. Give it. The other is, you want to play out, and you want to like sharpen your tools and make sure you're still sharp. And the other thing I think is you want to share your work. And it's tricky, I think, to juggle all this, but like, why not make art? I mean, I can't not make art. I can't deal with like feelings, whether it be a crush I have, whether it be an obsession I have with something. And so for me to write it into a song, it's really important to me. I've realized that over the years as a New Yorker, especially, like I need to write certain emotions so they can leave me.
Get it out. Yeah.
Whether it's jealousy, whether it's an infatuation with someone, whether it's an infatuation with an idea, whether it's an obsession with this, whether I'm trying to tell my wife something that I can't codify, with talking, I'm going to write a song about this. And I'm down a rabbit hole here, but like,
you just reminded me, speaking
Please.
of Katie, she said you graced the PS 51 first grade with months of the year song. Oh yeah. You have a future writing elementary school music.
we did. It's funny. My wife and I. So my wife is an incredible elementary musician and teacher, and she's not an elementary musician. Let me start over. She's an elementary teacher who's a specialist with young musicians. She wrote a tune and was like, "Hey, can you help me with a melody for this?" And I was like, "Give it!" And I just basically ran off for like a week. I did a bunch of uke and bass and harmony parts. There's a little shaker in there. And
I wanted to say that years ago, a long time ago in graduate school, and maybe Katie will remember this.
So old.
You did write a piece for Katie for Valentine's Day.
Oh, I did. That was a sweet piece. That was called. It was called Bleeding Hearts.
That was it. And for all of you who have never heard this piece,
no one's heard it. You played piano. Mike Purdue
was like the whisperer.
There was like a theatrical part. There was like an usher part where there was some actions to be done.
It was wonderful, and he just whispered some poetry in my ear, and I was like sort of supposed to react, and it was part of it. But I think one of the hallmarks of your pieces, Jude, like having performed quite a bit of your music at this point,
yeah, for sure,
is some of the hidden aspects that the audience members will never see or hear. So for example, Mike, he whispered some poetry into my ear, and it was like an integral part of the piece or how I might interpret something while I was playing. But Katie and whoever else it was being performed for in room 306 or whatever,
little tiny room,
never heard it. And so it was playing with these ideas of what it like almost like an actor's motivation, the backstory, all of these things that are that inform the artistic choices you make as performers, but that the audience is never privy to, which is just kind of a fun concept.
I was looking for it just now, and it says that it's corrupted.
What, your song?
The file. I was looking for the file so I could find some of the poetry. No, for those of you who don't know, one of the three most stereotypical things about me is when we moved to New York, we were poor, and I wrote my wife music as gifts. I wrote her one of my favorite versions of Andy Williams' version of Moon River.
Oh, that's great.
Did some really subtle glitch work.
Do you have a copy of that on your website that I could put in the...
Yeah, of course I do. It's probably judetraxler.com/moonriver. Okay. But it would be under Audio Works. No, I did a really subtle, like, it's hard to explain. Please check it out. I think it's one of my favorite audio recordings that I've ever done. But it's a tune called Moon River. It's what you think. Moon River, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. And I slowly, really subtly glitched it out. And so it was like, first you think the stereo is broken, and then all of a sudden you realize it's intended, and it gets really more intense. And then we had Shushtik Veli was a vocalist who worked with us in grad school, an incredible singer. I think she's in Norway or
She's Norwegian. Yeah, she moved back to Norway.
really incredible, beautiful voice. I had her come over and sing in a really shitty microphone, like falsetto singing the tune. And so she's in the normal pace. And then I'm also doing a thing. And it's this weird, like, it
Like
gets
you don't know
really,
where the time went, and then all of a sudden it's like there's all this kind of these breathless sounds, almost like you're drowning. I mean, it's very
it's really
like a
intense.
visceral kind of
Yeah.
experience.
And I remember playing that for my parents that Christmas. My dad had got a brand new like stereo receiver for their stereo, and of course I helped them hook it up and stuff like that because it's just something I'm into doing. And my wife is sitting there, she's already heard it. My parents, I'm like, "Hey, let me play you my Christmas gift for Katie."
Katie just
My
wrote, my
dad,
grandpa thought the radio was broken.
exactly. No, my dad goes like, "Son, I'm really sorry. We just hooked it up." I'm like, "No, like, dude, this is it. This is
This
this
is
is
part
this
of
is the
the
composition. This is the zhuzh." So no, it was really funny, and yes, sorry, this is the longest story ever. For that Valentine's Day, I wrote Katie a piece called "Bleeding Hearts." It's for solo piano and for like again,
uncredited
like basically
whisper.
Usher, and Mike did a thing, Mike Purdue, where he would there was like a prescribed time where he would come in the room. I think he like had to put his hand on your shoulder for a minute. I think he whispered a few things, some poetry that I had written. I think he whispered it to you and may have whispered it to Katie.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
And I don't think it's never been done. And I asked Katie, a few years later, I was putting my website catalog together, and I was like, "Hey, could I post this?" Or I think somebody had asked for it. I think someone had reached out and said like, "Hey, is this available?" And again, it's hers. I mean, again, I feel strongly about art. I believe in Napster. Once you make something, it does not belong to you, and so it's my property. But no, like, you let a balloon out, it's gone. And so I asked Katie like, "Hey, can I release this?" And she was like, "I think it would be weird. I think it would
Yeah.
be weird."
Yeah.
And I agree. I totally agree. There are two things that I wrote for Katie that I have not released. One is a vibraphone solo I wrote with Stuart Saunders Smith when we first met each other, called "To Katie from Baltimore." Terrible name, but it was to Katie, and I was in Baltimore. And the other is Bleeding Hearts. And I think there's a lot of mystery with art. I don't know. There's this story about this guy who's infatuated with this mistress of his because she has all these tattoos in different languages and he can't read it. And the fact that he can't read it like enthralls him. He's obsessed with her and with reading. Does it say something about me? Like is it something nasty? Is it something crazy? What does it say? And I love that idea of like something that you don't know, or that you don't know something, and it's just driving you. So I have a few pieces in that era where there's a lot of like subtle whispering to audience members, where literally each audience member has a different experience of like, "Oh, did he tell you that there's 10.99 off at Target this week?" Like,
Oh,
I
I
don't know.
thought you were going to say 1099, like a miscellaneous tax form.
Oh, but that's genius. If you file your 1099 early, you can get $50 off.
It's January.
What artwork. What blissful artwork.
Well, all y'all watching, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure. I won't be back next month,
you
so
won't be back. Oh,
tune
actually,
in,
thank you for reminding me, Jude. I wanted to read a little bit about the upcoming next
please.
month person, which I just had in the wrong tab. Here we go. So for everyone tuned in, next month will be February 26th, and still on a Friday. And if anybody here has gone to Avalock, this is Catherine Dowling, who is one of the pianists and people who works at Avalock, who is amazing, and I met about a year and a half ago at Avalock. So just a little bit about her. Award-winning Canadian pianist Catherine Dowling performs across North America and Europe as a soloist and in all manner of chamber configurations. She is familiar to audiences through close association with the Britain Pairs Young Artist Program, the Banff Center for Arts and Creativity, the Orlando Festival in the Netherlands, the Tanglewood Music Center, the Eckerd Grammaté National Music Competition at the Avalock Farm Institute, and she can be heard on CBC, Radio Canada, BBC, National Radio 4 in Holland, and the Etc. label. She credits her teacher Gil Kalish out at Stony Brook on Long Island as the major influence in her musical life. She will present two pieces of old songs reimagined for a new world, Arcana by Rudolf Escher from 1944, and Fantasia Baetica by Defia, 1919. So stay tuned for more information about that.
That sounds awesome. The only awards that I have are I don't know what's going to go with it. I don't have any awards. But also, I played at Anne's mom's house one time. So
You did. You did.
what? So what? Right? Where else have we played? I've been to Banff.
Center.
That's beautiful. I've been to Banff. That's an incredible place.
We played a variety of places together, Jude. We played Kennedy Center. We played at Princeton. We played at Louisiana State.
We played at the
we played at the Merce Cunningham Dance Studio.
That was probably my favorite.
So fun.
That was probably my favorite. I love that we're riffing on somebody else's credentials. She sounds amazing, and I'm
Catherine
absolutely
is amazing.
She sounds like it. But we did. Anne and I played. We were preparing a cage piece. It was Wonderful Widow of 18 Springs.
Mm-hmm.
We had reimagined it a little bit. I think correctly. I think fair to Cage's vision. We've always been really careful about that. But we reimagined it instead of a solo as a duo for piano and two voices. Probably one of my favorite things we've done. Right? And we did that set at your mom's house with Alejandra, I think kind of vamping on like contrabass clarinet, some badass instrument, some like monstrosity of an instrument. But but we had the chance. We got a call at the last second to do a show. They were closing. I don't know if they did, but they were talking about closing the Merce Cunningham dance space because Merce had died maybe 6 months before. I think they had like run out of I don't know. I don't know if it's still open. I should pay attention. But it was on John Cage's old Baldwin piano in Merce Cunningham's space. It was really like probably one of the most New York things about.
We had a live painter there doing like improvisational painting for the evening.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Who was that? Was that Rachel or was that like one of Gilbert's crews?
There were all sorts of other like musical acts throughout the evening, and it was just a really special space.
It was cool.
It was a dance floor, so it had the sprung, kind of bouncy floor.
It was a big space too. I think Peter Evans played a trumpet set.
Way down on like Bethune Street, I think.
Yeah, it's way down there, right by the highway.
Off of highway.
And in like the kind of space you see on TV. Like it was the top like penthouse level. It was just like windows and
yeah.
God, it was glorious. And I stole a copy of what is usually credited to John Cage, but it's
actually from a
nun.
nun.
What's her name?
It's the 10 rules for
10 rules for performers or for students and teachers. Yeah. And it's like, they're everywhere. Yeah, there's copies everywhere. It's not John Cage who wrote it. It's often credited to him. But it's 10 rules for students and teachers. And I don't know anybody who doesn't have it sitting on their fridge, but I like to know that Anne and I stole the original copy.
No, we photocopied it.
No, that's what I mean though. We photocopied, but it is the original. Like there were like hundreds of little push pin holes. I was like, hey, could I copy this? And the lady goes, we get it all the time. Hold on.
Yeah.
She was so over it. She was like, everybody does this. Give me a second.
Yeah. I still have it framed somewhere.
Oh, it's so important. I mean, it's some of the lines are like, the only rule is work. You can fool the
audience, but you can't fool the players.
That's it.
And I go back to that one, and then there are a few other ones that he
don't create and analyze at the same time. They are different processes. That's such a huge one. Like you can't be playing and practicing and be a technician and be a tastemaker. Like they can't simultaneously exist. You can record yourself, you can put different hats on while you play, but yeah, especially as a composer, too often walking right behind yourself and checking your work, like sometimes you got to make a mess. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. It's the other thing about art that I like so much, especially now in these COVID times. I like that art requires you to like keep working. Like mm-hmm. Well, this sucks. Yeah, work on it for like 6 hours and then throw it away. I think that's one of the most valuable mm-hmm. things I've learned as a composer is like, the secret to good composition is the trash can. Don't be afraid to just trash stuff. This mm-hmm. is bad, Mm-hmm. Anywho, I'm just rambling because it's Friday night.
It is Friday night. Well, I think we will say goodbye to our folks on YouTube.
Thanks,
But
guys and
thanks
gals.
everybody for tuning in. It was a pleasure. It was
Yeah.
nice to hear your set again, Jude. And we will go off live starting now.
Later, Gators.